Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our GTNH server that we're talking about for the future here. So we're working on making a GTNH server, and I've talked to you about a little bit what we're going to do in the future, and I thought I'd give you a bit of an update on our world gen and things like that. So we've decided to get rid of the real world generation and use real terrain generation. RTG, which is a fork of RWG, actually a continuation of that. So things are kind of working well there. And we're changing our world gen quite a bit compared to the official servers. Your client, everything will be compatible. We want to make a really long-term, reliable server, and we want to kind of change things for stability, reliability, performance, as well as just maybe even adding a bit of more of a challenge to it because it is a dedicated long-term server. So one of the biggest changes what we've done is we remove things like villages, dungeon loot, dungeons themselves, to be honest. Ravines are always ugly, little things like that. And the aim there was because it was kind of useless to have this stuff. It was free loot, and even then it was kind of meh, and it was kind of a cheap mechanic, honestly, in my opinion. And now there's still other loots and things like that in other worlds and things like that you can, find and get. But for our main world, we thought, let's kind of keep it clean. And so at that point, it was like, what's the point of caves? Because when you're walking around, there's mobs underground right now spawning in caves and things like that. And it was kind of like, it's actually very taxing. You think about 10, 15 players on, they're in their base, all these caves are under them. There's mobs actually sitting down there. If it's like newer generated, whatever, say water hit some rails, the rails pop off. The mob picks it up, or other items have fallen down there, etc., etc. Maybe a mob blows up. You've probably walked around and seen all of a sudden a skeleton shoot a creeper even though they're not even shooting you, you're far away, or some weird mechanic happens, right? And especially with modded mobs. And I guess the point is we wanted to keep it clean, so now the ground is solid. I mean, besides your ore generation and everything, we're not touching that. It's actually solid, and there's actually a benefit. Some people are like, yeah, what about small ores? Sure, it's harder to see small ores in a cave because, well, there's no cave. But what about the big benefit? Well, now if you find a vein, you don't have to worry about big hunk of the vein disappearing because there's like a cave or multiple caves intersecting and destroying the cave. So that's actually a really awesome bonus to that. So yeah, as you can see, AI improvements would be huge on performance on the server because they're going to either be on the surface or they're not going to exist. There's not going to be, all these AIs just underground kind of trapped and doing their thing. And then, like I said, we cleaned up villages and things like that. You can easily get villagers. All you have to do is convert a zombie villager and things like that. So it adds a challenge. You can build your own, village. But with things like witchery on here, their guards and the AI on them can get really nasty and stuck. And villages usually encourage people to move into them. So they move into them. They got this broken AI that gets stuck, and then causes a lot of lag and performance issues. And if you don't believe me, I've seen it firsthand multiple times. We were tracking down lag, wondering where it was coming from, and it was literally the hunking, AI taking it all up. Because there's no underground, really, lava generation became an issue, and with RTG, there is no lava on the surface. So I had to bit edit the RTG, and you don't need this on your client side. It just needs to be on the server side, and I have enabled lava to exist in the client. Basically, it'll happen at random in biomes of plenty and vanilla biomes, just sort of like the little water lakes ones do. Except I removed those because I don't think we need them. There's biomes with lots of water in them, plus there's the rivers that are everywhere that you can follow and check out. So yeah, the lava is not too rare. Sometimes you might have to walk around. Hey, I have to walk through 400 blocks to find a lava pool. Might be a little hidden or whatever, but it isn't like the end of the world. You can see there's multiples over here, so they do exist, and it kind of adds another gameplay. I mean, when you need to go through lots of lava, need a lot of lava, you can do it through, nether, things like that, but I think it'll make the overworld more cleaner, less light updates, things like that, especially since I was thinking of doing underground lava lakes for the lava. But the thing is, the player has to find it, so you have to add more to make them find it, but then there's more lighting updates, things like that underground, more pockets of air kind of thing. And I thought, no, we're trying to keep down, make the performances, clean as possible, or at least that's kind of the idea behind this. So yeah, we decided to clean that all up. So it's going to be a very solid underground world. And you can actually do, let's see, I think I can do this, right? Though you're not going to see anything. It's not the same as like the other no clips in the later versions. But yeah, basically you're not going to see anything. There's nothing to clip out under there right now. So that's kind of the thing, right? It's not like you can X-ray or see through, so it's kind of weird there. But it's literally just solid. There's nothing there, like I said. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we are going to use, so when we generate the world, we're going to do 32,000 by 32,000. So we've decided really big. We're going to do the same thing for the Nether and the Nether and the Twilight Forest. As much as I hate Twilight Forest, we want like a really good size. That way we don't have to like regen or, reset it every once in a while. This way there's less need, you'll have to go further, but we'll have that portal system I talked about, which I'll talk a bit about in a minute. But either way, big, large worlds. We're only backing up the main world, though. So if you decide to build your base in Twilight Forest or something silly, honestly, that's just dumb. Twilight Forest lags too much anyways. That's just being greedy and a jerk. And honestly, we just want to back up the overworld. The overworld is our only focus. Such a large world, we're gonna only focus on that world for backups. And if you want to live somewhere else, that's fine. But just be warned that they're not backed up. If anything happens, there could be issues and things like that. The chances are they're a lot rarer for that to happen or go wrong, of course. Especially if it's related to griefing. Usually we never, experience any need to use our backups outside of, griefing basically. And then in that case, well, that's usually the overworld that happens anyways. And that's what backups are for, right? For protection, we're going to be using something called MyTown 2, which is what the GTNH official servers use. I wanted to find something a little better, like Feed the Beast Utilities, but it's too messy. Like, if you think about with Feed the Beast Utilities, when you claim world, it's great. It's got a UI, everything like that. First of all, you have to download that client add-on. It doesn't work without it. And the second thing is there's not a lot of headroom or, I can't say, oh, if you played a long time, you can have this many claim chunks or, if I wanted to say, oh, you can only claim 3 separate area kind of things. So if I give you 50 chunks, the way Feed the Beast Utilities works is literally you can go around and claim 50 different chunks separate, like all around the world. So, oh, I like that oil, claim. Oh, I like that oil, claim. Oh, I like that oil, claim. Yeah, that gets messy and it's kind of like a really dirty, like no one wants that kind of crap. And unfortunately, that's kind of what happens when you're using Feed the Beast Utility. So MyTown 2 would prevent that. Also, it's command base and it's chunk based, which is kind of nice. So it should make it easier. We'll write a little guide or make a video on how to claim, your chunks and things like that as time goes on as well. For the client add-on, we'll have a server tab info. It's broken right now because I'm gonna either fix it or wait till they'll let the author fix it if he fixes it in time. But basically, it shows you basically like the TPS, things like that, and the MS. The part there you're seeing there's like 383, 361, things like that. That's the milliseconds that the server runs. Once that hits about 50, that's when your TPS goes down. Anyways, it'll be like a nice little easy, I want to just check the server performance, and you can check there. Just a nice little feature. Only downside, like I said right now, is that it's, not coded right, and it's a client add-on, so it's an optional add-on that people can use, but it's there if people want it. Then we're going to do a no portal mod on the overworld. You're not going to be able to do, nether portal anyways, things like that, but this other one is going to actually be, there's a chance that you can spawn the end dragon in the overworld using bees, and it's quite complex, and most people don't do it. But what we don't want people doing is finding a shortcut to the end, and even then, it's not really a shortcut, but it's like more like when they're high level, and then all of a sudden they're spamming end portals in the overworld, things like that. So basically, we just disabled the creation of the portal when the dragon dies in the overworld, which is not really a big issue, but I just thought I'd mention that. We have a Can I Join now, so if you're trying to log on the server right now, it'll say, oh, it's nighttime, and, it's something o'clock, which is kind of nice. We have an insomnia mod on here, which I actually had to fix. Basically, the idea of this mod is you can't sleep. Instead, you have to, it'll save your spawn point, but yeah, there's no sleeping on our server, so there you go, get rid of that no clip. So if we go like this, and you can see here, respawn point set, go back to the mine, basically. Oh, Electro's idea there. Something humorous, but the idea is get back to work, right? So the idea behind that is we want day and night cycles. As the server admin, we notice an annoying demand of some players wanting to make it nighttime. Some players don't want people to reset it because maybe they're farming mobs, things like that. And it becomes more of an argument, a fight, and it just becomes a mess. It's something what we don't want to deal with. So the idea this time around is we just get rid of it. There's no need for it, So yeah, day and night cycles, full 20 minutes. And you just have to live with that. And so this tree will burn down. A couple of trees will burn down, but the entire forest won't burn down, which is a nice thing. So yeah, sure. The lava pools on the surface do cause a bit of fires, but they're not like a horrific amount. They kind of cause a bit, and then they clean up. And as long as you don't have insane amount of lava pools, it's not so bad. And you can see they're quite common, actually. But you might be over here. Maybe you spawned over here, and you're like, there's none around here. That can happen. Look at that. There's nothing in this area, but oh, there's one there, right? So the idea, and here's another one. See how like 2 of them, 3 of them. Look at that, how close these guys are. So that's the funny thing. Oh, look at this. There's one and there's one. The generation when it comes to the lava lakes and water lakes and things like that, there's not a setting. There's not like a min or max distance. So sometimes you'll find a bunch together, and other times you won't find a bunch together. And that's just something you have to live with. That's just how it's coded, and I think it's fine. Clay, a lot of people were worried about clay for RTG. Not an issue at all. Definitely not an issue. As you can see, that's all clay there. Clay there, clay there. Look at all the clay. So much clay right now. It's pretty redonkulous right now. So there's no need to worry about clay at all. Because I know some people were kind of worried about that. So yeah, basically, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to update you on that. Just let you know, we're happy with the world gen. We're enjoying it quite a bit. Like I said, no oceans, no portals. So there's no nether portals going to be built. There's no end. You can't even throw the Ender Eye right now because it doesn't exist like the end strongholds. All that's going to be done through our little adventure type system. There you go. It's going to lag here. That's world gen for you, even with what we have now. I'm using and testing an old server, but still, that's kind of annoying. But we're working right now on a system to, did it just hit now kind of thing? It's really laggy there. But we're working on a system right now where there will be, say, 12 buildings or so scattered around the world. Maybe 1 or 2 of those are kind of active at a time. I think we're going to do maybe 1 at the time, but we'll see. And so the idea is they'll get active and they'll stay active for, say, a week, and then another building goes active kind of thing. And the idea is it encourages people to explore and find these. And when you go in there, these will be able to get you to the Nether, the End, Twilight Forest. So they'll get you to those 3 destinations, and that's the beauty. Like, you're not going to miss out or anything like that. But the idea is basically they'll get you there. You'll have a little currency to, first you'll unlock the building, kind of like maybe fix it or something to unlock it. But then there'll be like some sort of currency to go to the Nether. So let's just say maybe you need to throw, I don't know, a piece of steel in or something, because I think, to get to the Nether, usually it's a flint and steel, right, idea or whatever, a nugget or something. So the idea is you'll use something equivalent to around that area to go there, and you'll just throw it into a hop or whatever, the door opens, boom, you're in the Nether, and that's awesome. You come back through the same gate and through that same area, and then you travel back home. And one of the reasons why we want to do this is we want to encourage rails and things like that, which, once again, a lot of people are not into rails and things like that, but that's the theme of our server. We want to really use railcraft. We want to get trains going. We want to do a lot of things. And actually, one of the biggest things that is going to be happening is the entity fixing for duping, also disappearing entities like for trains and things, is getting fixed. I mentioned it. Somebody brought it up. I said, well, is there any way to fix it? I Googled around and I noticed Railcraft mentioned it, and it got fixed in a newer version of Forge. And so I posted a bug report wondering if anybody would be willing to look at it or fix it or whatever. Well, somebody actually backported and patched Forge with it. Basically, they're doing an ASM thing. But the idea is, look at that. The GTNH, somebody, decided to volunteer their time and effort to actually go ahead and patch and fix a critical bug that has basically made people say, oh, trains suck, don't use trains ever, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, boom, we might have a fix and a cure for it for good. That is freaking brilliant. That is freaking awesome. But anyways, yes, the big theme is we want to do trains. Trains is a big part of our server. We're going to encourage it. Electro and I are going to work on that. We're going to get, we're going to get started up, and then we'll get processing going, and we'll get some automation going. And that's the idea, if there's, we'll hunt down iron or ore or whatever to make the rails, whatever is the most efficient. And we will, put a lot towards it. Well, hopefully other players will donate and help build it as well, put their time into it. But basically, a big part of it is going to be about rails, and we would like to connect all these places now. It's the community and up to them to find all these places and start something around them, right? These teleporting places all around the world. But the idea is eventually we'll have a rail system that'll go to all of them, and you just have to check a schedule or whatever to see which one's up, and then just kind of head that way. And I think that's kind of a brilliant, fun, idea to do. We've also disabled, and people are going to hate this, but we've disabled Hang Glider in the Overworld, Twilight, and the Nether. Yep. I did that on purpose, and I know people are not going to like it, but once again, it's another thing like, moving this fast is horrific. Being able, I know you move slower, but the idea is you can move really fast with the glider, especially when you're diving. Put it with a pair of, a jetpack or something else. They become very cheap and very meh kind of thing. And the idea is we don't want people to do that. We want them to use, their feet, or they can use a boat if they like. But the idea is, traveling is going to be a little slower, and we want that to be that's the theme. That's what we're going with. We're going with rails, flat world, flatter world. You probably notice our world. I mean, this is not a flatter area, of course, but you probably notice a lot of the world is kind of smooth, pretty smooth, and makes, make a rail system pretty awesome and nice, right? And that's kind of, what we're aiming for there. I just wanted to share, an update, what our plans are. Like I said, not everyone will be happy with that, but then again, this server is not meant for everyone. It's meant for some people who are interested in this concept, this idea. We're looking for other players who are, kind of like Electro and I, who are not, they know how to play Minecraft, but they're not like experts when it comes to playing GregTech and things like that. They take their time. They like to idle a lot, do random little things like building a rail system, things like that. We're not really aiming to the person who's like, oh, I got to be the first to be, flying a rock into space and the first one to have a fusion reactor and things like that. If that is kind of the style you're looking to play with, you probably wouldn't be really compatible with our server, because we'll probably get pissed off at you if you start doing laggy kind of large, contraptions, because a lot of times people who are rushing are not taking their time. So if they want, 100 coke ovens instead of, 2, that's kind of the idea, right? They're going to build as much as they can to, go up as fast. And if you're the person who's bringing up the ticks and, lagging the server the highest, well, you're not compatible with us, right? We're going to have to ask you to leave or stop doing what you're doing, right? Because this is a server for everyone. Even though we're buying, a monster of a server, it is a server for everyone, and we need to make that a little bit more compatible and more friendly for everyone. Anyways, I've probably done enough rambling, but that's the idea of our server. We'll probably do some more videos in the future, maybe before we launch, maybe give an example of what one of these places look like without the coordinates or something. Electro's working hard at building a spawn and all these things. He's pretty good with that. He'll probably use schematic and things like that of some things that other people have built, but he'll modify them, and we'll add some modded stuff to them, and we're going to have some open computers with it, and it's going to have Stargates, and it's going to be pretty awesome, and you guys are going to love it a lot, I think. So it'll be a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you guys and girls so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see wonderful people next time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.